Well, good morning and happy November. Thanksgiving is on Thursday. My favorite day is actually on Friday, where I get to enjoy the leftovers. And my favorite is a cold turkey sandwich with mayonnaise and pickle. And so that's my favorite day of the Thanksgiving season. And happy Thanksgiving to everybody here. I hope that you were able to afford to put a ham or a turkey on your table this year. And if not, I hope that you have generous neighbors that will, you know, take care of you. Um, the purpose of this video is to discuss changes that I've made to my bug out bag and my bug out system in general. And this, the thinking that I put into this really goes back, a decade or more. And that is trying to tackle the problem of how do you transition out of your home into an environment where you don't know how long you're going to be there. Now, there's a term for that. It's called the inch bag. I'm never coming home. But I don't really get wrapped up in terminology. A lot of those videos do not really adequately address things like how do I acquire food? How do I make my own medicine? How do I, make shelter? How do I sustain myself and my family, my loved ones, in an environment where we may be there for a little while? So I found for me that when I reduce the amount of stuff in a traditional bug out bag that expire or they're going to be used real quickly, it's going to empty out your bag, and then you're not going to have anything. You're not going to have any tools. You're not going to have a way of making medicine. You're not going to have various other things. You're not going to have light, so because the batteries are going to die in whatever you have. So that became a challenge for me. And over the years, I've probably have not put as much time into it as I should have, but lately I have. And I think that's due in part to the world events and the world that we live in today is so unpredictable, especially with the wars that are going on, and but even then, the reason I do it really is just to be prepared. Even though I may never have to use it, it's just peace of mind. Because if you plan for the worst situation, anything in between, and then all the way up to living and staying at home, is covered because you've already thought about those easier processes. So when you solve the most complex problem, in my mind, you're in just a little bit better shape. So our bug out plan immediately is for the people that live in our home, and we want to make sure that we can bug out into an area and survive. My system includes things like a bug out cart. I'm an older guy. I can't, get around with a heavy pack for very long without stopping. So I do have a pack as well, but my pack is more or less designed to get me through the long haul. So there are different things that it can do. I have a cooking system, for example, that doesn't use butane. It doesn't use any fuel other than wood chips or branches or twigs. And I'll show you that. I also have just various water containers because when you come across fresh water, you want to have the ability to store it. So I have 3 of those in my pack. I also have a means of charging with a solar panel. The solar panel that I've chosen is for trickle charge. Okay, I found that this panel is very sturdy, and with the necessary adapters, I've converted that to be able to charge 2 critical things that allow for the transition that I'm talking about. One is you have to make medicine. Now, the medicine that I make is colloidal silver, because if you know the history of colloidal silver, it was used before antibiotics. It was used very successfully. And if you make it correctly, it is a terrific antibiotic. that you can use it internally and topically. So I have the ability to make that in the field. And the second reason is for lighting. I have a very good light that I'll show you, and I highly recommend, because it really puts a lot of light out there, and it's rechargeable. Has a battery that's rechargeable by solar. So those are the two things. I'm not concerned about carrying a phone. Depending on the situation, if it's bugging out because of a natural disaster, yes, you want to have your phone. But if it's bugging out because of a war, or because there are different reasons where you don't want to have your cell phone tracking you, right? So that would be another reason why I don't want to have it. Now, I do have the adapters where I could charge those items just in case. And other things in my pack that I carry on my back also include just things that will transition and make the transition a lot easier for me. And I can use them for quite a while. So we'll get into that. Now the bug out cart that I have that I will show you is almost like a base camp. Now the topography that we're in is flat, so pulling a cart is not going to be a problem down a dirt road, down a paved road, even through some of the fields that we have here, because of the tires. The tires are big and they're not going to get bogged down. So inside is basically food and tools and things that, if I come across a pile of wood, with nails in them, of course, because I'm not carrying nails, but a pile of wood, I have enough tools that I can make a shelter. So, an axe and a saw and a hammer, and just the basics, because you never know where you're going. But having tools will greatly, help me out. So, and then the final component that I will discuss at the very end, after I show you the bag and the cart, is the plan. Because it doesn't matter what I have. If I don't have a good plan, it's not going to do me any good. So the plan is the most important, and I'll save that for last. This is a Cold War sailor. I hope you enjoyed the little intro. Let's go ahead and get into the changes that I've made. We begin with the pack. I decided to use a polyplastic hard shell case, and the reason is I have a solar panel on the inside, and I feel that it protects my gear. So it's a very slim arrangement, and this is all put on top of a Marine Corps aluminum frame for the old packs that they used in Vietnam. And I've rigged it with a few things. Now, with this specific frame, you can store on the inside. So I've got my cook set here. I've got a water canteen. This is part of my distillation system. This catches distilled water, and this is my distiller here. And I'll hook that up and demonstrate it for you in a following video. So I'm not going to have that as part of this video. I just wanted to quickly show you what the changes were. And then up front, I've got a easily accessible medical kit, and that sits on my chest. And I've got the U.S. military sleep system here, a very good system to use. So that is the pack. That's what it looks like right there. And let me do a 360 view. And there you go, just like that. So on my leg, I will have a machete right here, and it's got a thigh strap. And then I also carry just a food and water on a pack right here, and that would go on first, and then I put my pack on. All right, and then you've got clothing. So now the cart is a couple of things here. So I got a couple of packs on top, but one is clothing for my wife and one's clothing for me. And we don't intend on taking those. That's basically, you put that on first. My wife could put her pack on if she wanted to, but it's got all the clothing that we need and footwear to begin our journey. And then this here is just a winter down. This is a supplement to the sleeping system that we have. This here, I've got to put this inside the box. This is just extra lighters and stuff like that. And I will detail and show you what I have inside the box later. But this is just to show you the cart. I've got a fishing trident. Again, part of the transition is being able to efficiently get food. And our plan is to be near a waterway or a water source of some type, because I have to distill that water. Water is, you can't do without. So, we're not going to be going into the desert with this. So this here is a trident, and that's good for fishing. This is the most efficient way to get fish. So I don't have a fishing pole. And then this, of course, is a World War II shovel. And I do carry a kerosene lantern. And the reason for that, there's a lot of diesel that might be available. Any truck driver, I could go up and barter for a cup of diesel, and that will keep this thing going for a week. So it's got 80 ounces in the tank. I've probably got 60 ounces in there just to prevent any overflow. And I've sealed my tank with a tank sealer. So this is a very good source of light. And also I've modified it into a cooker. So I can do slow cooking. I have videos on slow cooking, and I can also put coffee on it or something like that. So I've got a good lantern. And then over here, I've got a good axe. And then I've got a good saw right here on the inside. So that's just how it looks. Now, this thing is very easy to move. I can take one hand and just tilt it, and I'm on my way just like that. So just a very good way of moving things down a flat surface. And again, we live in a flat area, so it's not going to be a problem until we come to elevation increases. And even then, by the time we were to get there, our food would be gone, because I've got like 40, maybe 80 miles to get to foothills. And, I may not need the cart by the time we get there, depending on what the situation is. So, all right, the next video, I'll tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and stop this video here. And then the next video, I'm going to get into this pack. I'm going to show you what we got. And then I'm going to get into our box. I'm going to show you what we got. And then I'm also going to go over our plan. So I'll go ahead and end this here. I'll probably get that video out after Thanksgiving. This is a Cold War Sailor out.